Hello, my name is Scott for SB Gaming. This is going to be a channel review for the year 2015. I started this channel actually 10 months ago on March 10th, 2015. I started with 0 videos and I had all of 4 subscribers. I know 1 or 2 of them are still around, but I don't know what happened to the other couple. But I'm sitting here with 760 plus videos in the year 2015. Also, 761 subscribers as of me recording this video. One of my goals when I started the channel was to feature a variety of different games from a variety of different genres. If you look at my channel page, it says FPS or first-person shooters, role-playing games, survival, racing, city builders, management, and grand strategy games. And that was because I didn't want to necessarily be locked into one style of games. But at the same time, I also wanted to provide a deep level of coverage on a game rather than just merely scratching the surface, of course, where that is possible. And so I have delved into a number of different games very thoroughly. I started the channel back in March with Factorio, Prison Architect, Test Drive Unlimited 2, and the original Far Cry. A couple weeks later, I added City Skylines to the mix, and when I look at my channel, I see a large number of videos in the construction management city builder style of genre, which of the 760 plus videos I've done, 394 of those are construction slash city builder games. The game that I've covered the most is, of course, Prison Architect with 178 videos. That includes 5 different prisons, one of which is not yet complete. I did a 19 episode campaign, as well as 5 episodes for the escape mode. So at this point, I am pretty content with what I've done with Prison Architect. I would like to return to it, I just haven't committed to when. So you may see more Prison Architect in the future on the channel, it's just not going to be a high priority. The next game that got significant coverage was Factorio with 128 videos, and that includes the 71 videos that I did with the single player, as well as the 57 videos or episodes with Harper. And of course we are doing more Factorio coming up, trying to get the series finished and done. The next game that has significant coverage has been City Skylines. I've done a total of 88 videos, although I did one SB Chats video where I talked about an article I had read about the death waves. I had 3 cities in City Skylines: Charleston, Tropico, Bora Bora, and Island Crossing, which are 3 maps I downloaded off the Steam Workshop. So with that said, I feel really content with covering the construction genre for at least the next few months of 2016. I may be taking a step away from those type of games and expanding into some other areas. In addition, if I were to add to the most number of episodes for a game on the channel, the third runner-up would be Fallout 4 with 83 episodes in the year 2015. There are 99 episodes so far, but since we are talking about 2015, I did get up to episode 83 in Fallout 4, and of course there's going to be many more to come with Fallout 4. It will probably be a mainstay on the channel for quite a while. I don't know when I'm going to get tired of the game, but I'm definitely enjoying it as it is. So when I look at the games I've covered, I have to ask myself, have I accomplished the goals I've set for myself? And one way to look at that is to take a look at what I set for the foundation of the channel, which is, of course, as I mentioned, first-person shooters, role-playing games, survival games, racing games, city builders, management type games, and grand strategy. And so if we were to take a look at those categories, when it comes to first-person shooters, I did start off with Far Cry, although I only ever got 1 episode out on it. Followed that up in April with Far Cry 2. We can also add Sir, You're Being Hunted, which I think I did about 30 episodes or so with that game. There's also Fallout 4, which has pretty decent first-person shooting mechanics. Definitely better than previous games, although I never actually played them. But from what I have heard other people talk about, definitely been an improvement in that category. When it comes to role-playing games, the only game so far that really encompasses role-playing games is, of course, Fallout 4. And the game really took the channel by storm with Yeah, 2 videos a day since I was pretty well obsessed with it. The other games I was doing at the time, I was having some technical issues. Betrayer was popping up in color, which was rather disappointing. City Skylines was crashing. And I was beginning to get frustrated with Prison Architect. So at that point, I wasn't looking to add anything new. And so because I had recorded a lot of Fallout 4 for various reasons, I ended up going to a 2 episodes per day schedule with Fallout 4 pretty much for the entirety of December. When I look at survival games, we can take a look at games such as Sir, You're Being Hunted, where you're hunted around an island by robots and you have to sneak your way around, shoot your way into gathering pieces of an artifact. Quite fun to play, but it is overall a pretty good game. There's Betrayer, which takes place in 1604 New England. It's a horror survival type game where you have to survive against the hordes of mutants, Spaniard, beast creatures. And there's, of course, Don't Starve Together. So survival category, presuming I can define it as such, did get some decent coverage. The next category is racing games, and that was really only covered by the 28 episodes of Test Drive Unlimited 2 that I did back when I started the channel. I haven't really had much in the way of racing games on the channel, although I've definitely wanted to jump into 1 or 2. And I did have a series on Euro Truck Simulator 2, which is a driving game, if it can be included in the racing genre. It's not racing, but it's also management, so it also applies in the management games. The next category is, of course, city builders, and this is a little bit more specific. City builders are building a city, and that was covered by City Skylines as well as Tropico 5. I really wanted to do more Tropico 5, but because the Tropico music generates Content ID claims, I decided to integrate my own soundtrack of royalty-free Latin Caribbean music, and that definitely, I think, improves the experience overall. The next category is, of course, management, and that is mostly covered by Prison Architect, as well as Euro Truck Simulator 2. And depending on how you look at it, I did a preview of Cook Serve Delicious. I never really got into doing a full playthrough of that game, but that is definitely something I'd like to consider putting on the schedule, if only I had time to do a whole lot more than I am currently doing right now. And the final category, which I based the channel around, is of course Grand Strategy, and that is all of nothing. I really wanted to get Crusader Kings onto the channel. I also wanted to do Total War Rome 2, but I never really had time, and I wasn't sure how well either of those games would do on the channel, so I opted to do other things. Anyway, when I started the channel, there was one genre that I did not specifically plan to cover, although over the last summer it has definitely taken the channel by storm, and that is the puzzle genre, and that was covered by Portal, Portal 2, Portal Stories Mel, The Talos Principle, Hook, Polarity, and while it may not necessarily be considered one, Papers, Please definitely is, in my mind, a puzzle game where you have to sort through documents and try to figure out whether someone is allowed entry or should be denied, whether you can detain them, whether you need to search them. You have to figure out all the stuff, all the while under a time limit, trying to get as many people processed so that you can, of course, make the most amount of money in the day so that your family doesn't starve or go cold without heat. Anyway, that pretty much covers most of 2015, and the rest of this video is pretty much what I want to accomplish for 2016. Well, I definitely want to do more first-person shooters. I've been really thinking about jumping back into Far Cry 2, playing through Far Cry 3, as well as Blood Dragon, as well as Far Cry 4, do the entire Far Cry franchise, and if possible, when the next Far Cry comes out, Far Cry Primal, I think it is, I'm thinking about putting that on the channel as well, so hopefully people have an interest in first-person shooters, because I'm definitely going to be setting aside some time to get more of that on the channel. When it comes to role-playing games, I'm definitely satisfied with Fallout 4 as my role-playing game fix. I was considering Skyrim, but I'd be tempted to spend days upon days modding it and not getting anything else done, so I'm going to hold off on that. And in addition to my current playthrough, I have plans to do a second no fast travel, Lone Wanderer style, heavily modded playthrough, in addition to possibly doing a third playthrough after that. It all depends, but Fallout 4 probably won't be going away anytime soon. And of course, within Fallout 4, there are various endings. The different factions have different goals. You kind of have to pick one faction over another faction. In my first and current playthrough, I've been allying with the Railroad. In the second playthrough, I'll most likely be doing a Brotherhood of Steel focus. And in the third playthrough, it'll probably be allying with the Institute. And so I'll be exploring different aspects from the game from the focus of one faction from another faction. But that's really all the plans I have sketched out so far. Nothing is set in stone, so that may be a while down the road. When it comes to survival games, I definitely want to play more Don't Starve Together. If you have Don't Starve Together and you would like to participate, just join the SB Gaming online play group over on Steam, and I'll be using the group to post information in more detail, specifically on when I do plan to play. I've also been considering putting Banished on the channel. I had actually months ago recorded an episode of Banished, planning to continue it, but at the time my schedule was pretty full and I never really got anywhere further than that. If I decide to get back into the city builder construction genre, you'll definitely be seeing Banished on the channel. Next up, when it comes to racing and driving games, there are a couple games I am considering. The first is The Crew. It is an online racing game where you get together in teams and you race and do some other stuff. I've not actually played the game. I bought it off Steam during the holiday sale and I haven't actually loaded it up yet. I'm also thinking about jumping into Project Cars. It looks pretty interesting, graphically detailed, although I don't know too much more about it, other than I believe they consulted various race drivers and got input and feedback from the community. And finally, American Truck Simulator was finally announced to be released in February. I am thinking about getting it, possibly starting up a series, although I haven't exactly committed to it. And when it comes to city builders, as I mentioned, I've been wanting to put Banished on the channel. I want to get back into Tropico 5 and consider returning to City Skylines, presuming, of course, it doesn't continue crashing on me. It's rather disappointing. It either crashes when I load the map up or I actually save, causing me to lose hours of progress. Several episodes had to be trashed because, of course, because I lost my content. So I was rather frustrated with City Skylines, and that's why I put the game on hold. In the future, I'd also like to focus on online and multiplayer games through, of course, my Steam group, SB Gaming Online Play. There's a lot of games I'd like to cover, perhaps more games than I can really focus on. If I try to play too many, what of course will happen is that I either spread myself out too thin or I don't really give games sufficient enough coverage that I feel satisfied with. But anything can happen. Next week I might change my mind and completely reverse everything I've done so far and go in a completely different direction. I might actually do Prison Architect again full time, but odds are if you've gotten to the end of this video, you pretty much have an idea of where the channel is heading. I definitely want to do more first-person shooter games, focus more on Fallout 4, do a lot of online multiplayer gaming, and getting more involvement with anyone who might be interested in participating in an episode. If you are a YouTuber yourself or have been thinking about getting back into recording games, this is definitely a good opportunity if you share some of the same interests as I do, as I definitely have no problems featuring anyone who wants to get their 15 minutes of fame here on the channel. Anyway, hopefully this doesn't end up being too long. I'll be cutting some of it out just because I'm not the best at speaking. And so, yeah. Anyway, if you got into the end of this video, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. My name is Scott for SB Gaming, and as always, have a good day.